Do you like how the granny stitch looks? Are you looking for a new variation of the granny stripe stitch? If you are, the granny spike stitch might just be the stitch you're looking for. It's a variation on the granny stitch, and it adds a little spiked detail to the stitches, which gives kind of a waved look to your crochet projects. I'm Rachel from Hope Corner Farm, and by day I'm a home ec teacher who teaches hundreds of students how to crochet. And if you're ready to learn this crochet stitch, let's grab a hook and some yarn and we'll get crocheting. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so you get notifications of when I post new videos, and don't forget to give me some feedback on this video. Give me a like or a comment, let me know what I did well or things that I could improve upon. Now, if you can double crochet and chain stitch, you can complete the granny spike stitch. Let's see what materials we need. Before you get started, you're going to have to gather a few materials. Now, first off, this crochet tutorial is in US terms, and you're going to need to grab a crochet hook of any size. For today's tutorial, I'm going to use a size J 6.0 millimeter crochet hook. You're going to need a yarn needle, you're going to need a pair of scissors, and at least 2 different colored yarns. You can use more than 2, but at least 2 to show that beautiful granny spike stitch. I'm using a size 4 medium weight yarn here in both of these colors, and once you've gathered your things, then we can get started. To start the granny spike stitch, you're going to be working in multiples of 4 plus 1 if you're chaining to start. So with a chain start, again, you're going to need multiples of 4 plus 1. So for this tutorial, I am going to go with 17. I'm going to chain 17. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Now, if you need to see how to chain or double crochet in slower, more detailed moves, I am going to include a link to a video below that takes it a lot slower. But here's my multiple of 4 plus 1. So I have chained 17, which is my multiple of 4 is 16, plus 1 makes it 17. Now we're ready for row 1. For row 1, we're going to work into the chain stitches, and the very first chain stitch that we're going to work into is the 5th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I am working into the 5th chain from the hook. And into that 5th chain from the hook, I am going to place 3 double crochets. So there is 1 double crochet stitch. I'll yarn over, go back into the same chain, yarn over, pull through. Now there's 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that is the 2nd double crochet. I'm going to place 1 more double crochet stitch in that same chain, repeating the same way here. So now I have placed 3 double crochets into the same chain stitch. Now I'm going to chain 1. Now I am going to skip 3 stitches, and sometimes this one right next to that chain where we worked so many stitches, sometimes that's a little hard to see, so you have to pay attention. So there's 1, 2, 3 stitches we're skipping, and we'll work into the 4th stitch. So essentially we are working into the 4th chain from this last stitch. So we skip, 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 and then the 4th is what we're going to work into. We're going to repeat. We're going to yarn over, insert into the chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. I'm going to place 3 double crochets in this chain here, just like I did. So there's my 3rd double crochet stitch. Now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to repeat. I'm going to skip 3, so 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to work into the 4th, and into the 4th chain I am going to work 3 double crochet stitches. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Oops, my yarn kind of got in the way there. So that's what it looks like now at this point. Now we have 4 chains left. So we're going to chain 1, just like we have been. We're going to skip 3 chains, just like we have been. And into the last chain, we're going to work just 2 double crochets. So we're going to yarn over, go into that chain, yarn over, pull through. Now there's 3 on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there's 1 double crochet. And we're going to place 1 more double crochet in that very last chain. And that completes row 1 of the granny spike stitch. Row 2 is still worked with this first color, so we call it color number 1. So we go 2 rows of the same color. So row 2 is going to stay with color 1 here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by chaining 2, and then I'm going to turn my work. Now we're going to work into these gaps created by the skipped stitches and the chain 1. So the first thing we do into this first gap here, we're going to place a double crochet. So we just yarn over, go into the gap, yarn over, pull through the gap. Now there's 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now the second double crochet that we're going to work into here, we're actually going to come and work kind of a long double crochet down into this middle skipped chain. So remember, we skipped 3 chains in the last row. So we're going to work into the middle one of those 3. So we have 1, 2, 3. We're working into that second skipped chain. So we're going to yarn over. We're going to come down into that chain stitch. We're going to come to the back of the work, yarn over, pull through the chain stitch. Now I want to make this loop a little bit looser because again, we're going kind of a distance. So I'm making it a little looser than I normally would. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 to complete it. So that completes the second double crochet. Now you need to be careful here because we need to work 1 more double crochet into that gap, and it's kind of covered up by our long double crochet there. So you may need to move it to the side here so you can find the gap. And we're going to work another double crochet into the gap. You're not working down into the chain, so you have to be careful, and you're not working into any of this stuff up here. You're working into that gap right there. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and that completes one section there. So you can kind of see the look, that the spike look that we're getting by that elongated double crochet there. Chain 1, just like we did in the last round, and we're going to repeat. We're going to go to the next gap here. We're going to place a double crochet in the gap. We're going to place an extended or longer double crochet down into that middle chain. We're going to work into that, and sometimes especially this chain row can be a little hard, so we're coming right down here working into that chain. Come to the back side, yarn over, pull through, make that loop just a little bit longer, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, kind of maybe move it to the side so you can find that gap again, yarn over into the gap, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1. We have 1 more space, we'll repeat. So we're going to place a regular double crochet, a longer double crochet down into that chain stitch. So again, that's where I'm working. Yarn over, pull through. Now you've got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we work into the gap again. So we yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, and then our very last stitches of the row are going to be worked in between that chains that we skipped over and the 3 that we worked into the 1 chain. So these are my 3 double crochets that I worked into 1 chain in the last row, and these are the skipped 5 chains that we skipped over from that chain start. So we're working into that gap right here in between those 2 pieces, and we're going to put 2 regular double crochets into that gap space right there. So yarn over into the gap, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and 1 more. So yarn over into the gap, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that completes row 2. Now we're ready for row 3, and you can choose a couple of ways to do this. You can carry your yarn up. You're going to have to watch out and keep certain that you don't tangle this yarn up, and you're going to have a little bit of this light blue showing up the side if you carry it up the side, or you can cut it off. So I like to cut it off, and I know that means that I have more ends that I'm going to be weaving in, but I'm okay with it because I just like the look of not carrying this yarn up a little bit better. Personal preference, I know. So now we're ready to bring in our second color. So I'm going to basically drape it over my hook here and pull through the loop that I had on my hook. I'm going to pull on the light yarn tail here, so color number 1's yarn tail, to tighten that up. I'm going to kind of pinch and hold the color number 2 yarn tail with my thumb and my fingers, and then I'm going to chain 2 with my new color. Now I'm going to turn my work. Now we're going to work into the gap just like we did in the previous row. So the only difference is instead of working into the skipped chain, we are actually going to work into the middle double crochet from row 1. So you've got your 3 double crochet clusters there. We're going to work into the top of that middle double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, insert into the gap, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That completes a regular double crochet. Now we're going to work down into that middle double crochet from the cluster below. So yarn over into this space right here, yarn over, pull through, again pulling that loop just a little bit longer, so this loop right here, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, kind of squish them to the side, because again, as you can see, that gap kind of starts to disappear there. There's that gap that we're working in. It kind of disappears, so you might have to pull things a little bit to get it to show up. And we're going to work a double crochet into that gap. So again, we have worked 3 double crochets into that chain 1 space. And again, we work a longer double crochet down into the top of that middle double crochet to kind of get the spike. That's what creates the spike of the granny spike stitch. We got a chain 1, skip over those stitches. We're going to work into this gap here. So yarn over into the gap, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to work a longer double crochet down into that middle double crochet stitch from row 1. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Pull it to the side so you can find the gap again. So hopefully you can see that right there, and work a regular double crochet there. And chain 1. Move to the next gap space, do the same thing, 3 double crochets, 1 regular, 1 longer or looser double crochet, again pulling that loop looser, and then another regular double crochet into the gap space. Chain 1. So you can see how that pattern's starting to develop there. Now we are to the end here. Again, we're going to skip over these 3 double crochets, and we are going to work into the gap in between the first set of double crochets and the chain start. So the row starts with a chain 2. So we're working into that gap there. That's where we're going to place our last 2 regular double crochet stitches. So there is 1 and 2. And that completes row 3. So to start this row, we're going to begin by chaining 2, and we're going to turn. And into that gap, again, we're working into the gaps only, that gap that was created by the chain 1 and the skipped stitches from the previous row. So into this gap, we're going to work a regular double crochet, a longer double crochet into the top of the longer double crochet from the row 2 rows down. So this would be row 2. This was row 3, so we're working into the top of that longer double crochet from row 2. It's also the middle double crochet. And then we'll place another regular double crochet in there. So regular double crochet, longer double crochet into the top of that middle stitch. And we make it longer by pulling this loop right here longer. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then 1 more regular double crochet into that gap space. Chain 1. Move to the next gap space and repeat. Regular double crochet, longer double crochet down into that middle double crochet stitch, make it longer, and then a regular double crochet into that gap space right there. Chain 1. Don't forget the chain 1s, otherwise it's going to get things all bunchy in here and you need these gaps to work into. So repeat. Regular double crochet, longer double crochet down into that middle stitch, regular double crochet. You'll get faster with this the more rows you do. Chain 1, and then we come over here, and again in that gap that was created between the chain 2 and the first set of double crochets, into that gap right here, we're going to work 2 regular double crochet stitches. And that completes the row. So for the remainder of your project, if you're doing 2 colors, you would just alternate this color 1 with color 2. So at this point, I would bring in color number 1 again. And again, I like to cut off my yarn just because for me, I like how it looks just a little bit better. You could choose to try and carry it up the side, but again, you're gonna see that on the outside there, and that's what I don't like about carrying that yarn up, and that's why I choose to cut it off and weave in those ends. So then I would bring back in color number 1 if I'm doing a 2-color one here. Now if I were to do a 3 or more color one like this one, so here's the first color, here's the second color, I would bring in a 3rd color at this point. You could do as many colors as you would like. It's just each one of these color bands is 2 rows. So each band across for the granny spike stitch is 2 rows of crochet. So if I were to continue just alternating, again, I brought back in color 1 and I would just repeat. Each row starts with a chain 2 and a turn, and we work into those chain 1 gaps right there, and we place a regular double crochet, a longer double crochet down into the top of that middle one there, and then a regular double crochet, and we chain 1 to end it, and we move to the next space and continue on down. And that is just basically how you would continue doing this crochet this crochet stitch as you would go here. Chain 1, double crochet, longer double crochet, regular double crochet, chain 1, and into that last gap space we work just 2 double crochet stitches. So there's 1 and 2, and that would complete that row. I would do 1 more row with this color, and then I'd switch back to that color. So once you have your project as long as you would like it to be and you're ready to end it, you need to do a finishing row on it, because otherwise you're going to have these gaps that I don't like the look of. Now I like to try and plan my projects where I start and I end with the same color. I also like to only do 1 row how I have been doing it and then do the finishing row with that same color, so it's again the same height, so all my rows are the same height. If I were to do a second row where it was still where we're putting the gaps and all that, and then a finishing row, it's going to be just a little bit taller. You can totally do that, whatever works for you, but I'm a person who likes some uniformity to my projects. So I've done 1 row with my original color number 1. Now I'll show you how to do my finishing row. So I would chain 2 like I normally do. I would turn. I'm going to work into the gap just like I have been doing. So I'm going to place a double crochet, a longer double crochet, and a regular double crochet. Now here is where the difference comes in. I am instead not chaining, and I'm going to work a regular double crochet right into that middle stitch. So I have not chained. I'm going to work a double crochet into that middle stitch. I am not chaining. I'm just going to simply go to the next gap, and I'm going to place a double crochet, a longer double crochet, another double crochet, all in the gap. I am not chaining. I'm going to work a regular double crochet in that middle stitch, no chaining, and I'll go to the next gap, and I would just continue. The only difference between my finishing row and all my other rows with the granny spike stitch is that simply instead of chaining 1 and skipping, I'm just going to place a regular double crochet in the middle of that skipped set. So again, I've completed my grouping. Instead of skipping over all those and working into the next gap, I am not chaining 1. I am just simply placing a double crochet in the middle of those stitches I would normally skip over. I go to the next chain space, work my grouping of 3 double crochets. I am not chaining 1. I'm going to work into what I would normally skip over, and then I go to the next one. And that's how I would run a finishing row for the granny spike stitch. I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so you get notifications of when I post new videos. And if you're looking for another variation on the granny stitch, you can check out this video right here where I have another fun granny stripe stitch. I hope you guys have a blessed day.